भद्रं कर्णैभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागं सस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. So let us pray together. We offer our salutations to the all-loving being who endows all beings with consciousness. We meditate on the Lord who is the origin of the universe. Lord, thou abidest in all, thou art all, thou assumest all forms. Thou art the origin and goal of all. Thou art the self of all. Thou art existence, knowledge, and bliss. Salutations unto thee. May the world be peaceful. May the wicked become gentle. May all creatures think of mutual welfare. May their minds be occupied with what is spiritual and abiding. May our hearts be immersed in selfless love for the Lord. Peace, peace. Peace be unto all. Let us feel our true self, which is not this body and yet pervades the body, which is not the mind, still pervades the mind. It is beyond birth, death, is eternal, immortal, is ever perfect, ever blissful. To feel this, to experience this, fulfills one's life. Thus it is goal of our life. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Dear friends, I had thought earlier that this will be a very quick lecture, very simple, all the things you already know, and so you will get a very short lecture today and you will be very happy. But unfortunately, the lecture is going to be long, at least as usual. So you are in for a big chunk of boredom and whatever as usual. But there is the importance to that, because the topic actually is pretty deep. I agree that most of the things that we'll be discussing today you have already heard many times, multiple times, and yet reinforcing them is helpful. So let us think of this topic, that is, let us become truly selfish. It is, and just let us begin by how the dictionaries give a description of selfishness. It is not really definition. Dictionaries don't give definitions as such, but explain or describe how the word gets used in public. So it is like, what is selfishness? That is described here in 2-3 different ways. Firstly, the person being selfish. The second is the action being selfish. The person selfish is concerned exclusively or excessively with oneself, seeking or concentrating on one's own advantage, pleasure, or well-being without regard for others. Then the action, selfish action, the one who performs such selfish actions becomes the selfish person. So what is selfish action? Arising from concern with one's own welfare, advantage, in disregard of others. And then there is another idea about that is connected with DNA and gene, that it is being an actively replicating repetitive sequence of nucleic acid that serves no known function. It is the selfishness of DNA. Also that becomes the being genetic material solely concerned with its own replication. It just keeps on replicating. We do not know why it does that, but it multiplies oneself, replicates oneself. So, virus is one of the examples of replicating. So, it is thus a self-replicating thing is also considered. Today in this talk, we are not considering the third, this description. These are the usages of the word that the dictionary gives. Dictionary doesn't give the usage when that particular word is used as a proper name. Like if somebody keeps the name to the cat, one has a pet cat and gets the name selfish. Now that in dictionary you won't find that description as selfishness is a cat. No, that is not mentioned. Or somebody may use the word selfish as one's username or password. So that also is not, that is an encryption. So that is also not the meaning that you will find in dictionary. It is the usage that when a person is doing such things, that person gets the name selfish, complete disregard for others, and then thinking about one's own pleasures, advantage, and whatever other such things, one's own name, fame, power. So that person gets called selfish. Now, let us see what we do to become selfish. We will see how things happen here. What a person should be doing to be selfish, just the paraphrasing, putting what we read in the last slide in a different way, excessively or exclusively seeking or concentrating on one's own advantage, pleasure, or well-being. Important part is without regard for others. And the actions for a selfish person, the actions will concentrate or should concentrate on one's own happiness, welfare, or advantage in disregard of others. So, if say Swami wants to be selfish, then what Swami should do? Excessively or exclusively seek and concentrate on one's own advantage, pleasure, or well being. I should not care about what the others, what they think about me, or what they are, how they are faring. I don't need to be concerned about that. So let us see, are we doing that? Do we do that? Because this is how we can become truly selfish. Are we doing that? Let us see, when do we not do it? Two examples. Are we really selfish if we are spending thought, time, and energy in finding faults of others? See, here we are getting concerned with others. Instead of concentrating on our happiness or on our advantage, where is the mind going? To others. Finding faults with others, criticizing others. It is. Now, what happens with that? If we do that, what happens? We can see the results are there to see. What do we gain by such finding faults with others, criticizing others? Obviously, we saw that it is we are getting concerned with others. So first, very definition of being selfish gets violated there. That we should not be concerned with others if we want to be selfish. So, you see, when we criticize others, the mind is going to others. The thought is going to others. Our time is getting spent on others. And the result is waste of energy and time. Then it irritates our mind. It is when we criticize somebody and find faults with others, we get irritated by that. Then what happens also? We lose friends. Do you find that somebody who constantly criticizes others would get friends? In fact, that is one reason that many lose friends. So, one loses friends. Then that becomes a bad habit. When we are criticizing others, what happens is, this is the psychology, friends, that we do it once, its seed gets into the mind, prompting us to do it again. And then we keep on doing, because now the seed is inside and it will keep on sprouting. And it becomes to such a pass, it comes to such a pass that so many seeds of this tendency to criticize others, and it will, in spite of our wanting, it will become a forest of weeds, you see, everywhere. We will be, even if we want to stop, I will not find faults with others. It won't easily happen now, because this has become a habit. We will constantly do it. That will become our life. Whenever you say find fault with that, it becomes habit. I had told you one story that it is one lady used to cook, was a good cook, but the husband had developed a habit of finding some fault with the cooking. And so, hey, this is not right. Oh, you put this spice a little too much. Or you didn't put this enough salt. Constantly some fault or other will be found. So one day she decided to, do everything very meticulously that the husband will not get a single chance of finding fault. And then, yes, the meals was ready, husband sat for eating, and then she was looking, well, what fault he may find now, let's see. And the husband was not talking. And then she mustered courage and asked, how is the food today? And he angrily blurted out, oh, it would have been all spoilt had you put a little more salt. So that is how the irritation is, the built-up irritation always. The salt is not more, and that becomes the irritation, because the habit is formed now. Criticize, blame, and thus the bad habit gets formed. And then that feeling of dyspepsia comes. Cynic, a person becomes cynic. Dyspepsia is getting stomach upset. There is a particular way in which the stomach gets upset. It cannot digest things, always acidity, gases and all that, loss of taste. So all these are called signs of dyspepsia. And that person is therefore always kind of criticizing others, is a bit cynic. So it is like that if something good happens, the dyspepsia, as it were, comes up. One poet called another poet, who was his friend, in the morning, that, hey, I am calling you early in the morning to ask, did you get any big reward or some happy news? And this poet said, no, nothing. How do you think like that? What happened? No, in the morning I got some stomach upset. So I thought you must have had something, some good news for you. So that is making my stomach ache. So this is how the habit of criticizing, getting irritated with that, finding faults, leads to that. And you see, this is not concentrating on one's own happiness, welfare, or advantage in disregard of others. So, it is not selfish. So, if we want to be selfish, this is not helping us to become selfish. Is it clear? Is it clear? Yeah. So, that is important. Second thing we do as selfish persons, what do we do? Run after various objects of sense enjoyment. Now, these are the two main things that we criticize others, find faults with others, or the another direction, run after various sense enjoyments. I want this, grab things. And all our sense organs, they are, as it were, grabbing things. They have the outgoing tendency, and thus try to see what object can bring pleasure to me. And so these five sense organs, like the sense of sight, it is, this psi and t has come down there, not, it is what was meant was sense of sight, you see. It is then sense of touch, sense of sound, smell, taste. Again, with taste also it is not correct. That is, so these five sense organs, they are out to grab things in the world. They are running after it. They are, as it were, hungry. And so we see, we look for all such enjoyments, like enjoyment of sight, a beautiful form, or a nice scenery, something that is pleasant to the eyes. And this is how we get cheated, is what is pleasant today is not pleasant tomorrow. It is actually a contrast that is seen as pleasant. What we are used to, we don't, gradually we lose the pleasure from it, and we try to get something opposite of it. Like when I told that earlier as well, that when I was seeing that beautiful scenic views of Himalayas, and then one man who was living there all the time, I asked, "Wow, you are so fortunate. You get to live in this such a scenic beauty." He scoffed at me and said, "No, I don't like. We go to plains when we want to want to do some sightseeing. What is there to see in these mountains? No, I like to go to see the plains, and I particularly love the seashores." So that is how, the contrast. We like same thing with the taste, with touch, sound, smell. So we go on changing, running after these things, that it is likes and dislikes. It is not that we like certain objects and dislike certain objects. Those very objects which we like at one point, next time we don't like them. And so therefore it is always chasing, running about. And thus what happens when we do that? Let us see the result of it. What do we get by that? More desires, because no satisfaction, only running after. We keep on thinking, well, this may not be something that will make me happy. Let me try something different. It is, we always, as it were, looking for different things to make us happy. More and more desires come, intense, they become more and more intense, more painful. That is why more agony. A desire is an agony, friends. I want. It becomes more and more agonizing. It is a problem. They want. It keeps on like hunger, It keeps on seeking something, painful sensation. It is, so more desires, more agony. This is what we get. And more bondage. Again, same thing about, criticizing others or finding fault with others. It becomes habit. And here they have that, it becomes similar bondage, but more intense, because it is the bondage that we have from all these objects of senses. Now they have a stranglehold on us. We are pulled towards them. They have the strings, as it were, and then they pull us towards them. So this is how they, running after those desires, it makes us more and more bound, more and more slaves. And then we land in what is the Greek mythology, this Tantalus hell. This is a very good description Swami Vivekananda gives in the book Jnana Yoga, that our condition here is like this Tantalus hell. This is one of the great things that Swami Vivekananda's preaching of Vedanta in the West was. He used the the mythologies, the stories, not just from the Indian lore, but that which was known to the Western world. So, he says, our condition is like this Tantalus hell. This Tantalus was put in hell. He did many bad things. He was a king and did many bad things, and so was put in the hell. And what is this hell like? You know, that picture shows, one picture is equal to 1,000 words. This fellow is dipped, is immersed in water. And there are all those nice edible fruits hanging around. Tantalus is filled with intense thirst and intense hunger. Intense thirst is there. Now he is in water. So the water rises just up to the lips. And when he tries to take a sip of that water and soak his parching throat, the water starts receding. Water starts receding, doesn't get it. Similarly, hunger. All those branches of the fruits start coming close, very close, almost touching the lips, and tries to grab, they go up again. So that is how we are tortured in this hell. There are the desires which all around we think that we will be satisfied by just grabbing the objects. No, we grab the object as such, but not the essence of that object that would have fulfilled us. The object remains with us, but its capacity to bring joy to us is gone. We expect it, but we never get it. And this is what happens by running after the sense objects. So, is it selfishness? Not concentrating. It is not concentrating on one's happiness, because these objects don't give you happiness. They do not make for our welfare or advantage in disregard of others. It is therefore not being selfish, not selfish. And then if you see, same thing happens with money. Money is the abstraction of everything that we can get in this world. That if we have money, we will be able to buy it. That is the idea. Without money, I cannot get it. But if I have money, then okay, I will be able to buy it. So just give me money, and then my life will be full of happiness. This is represented by gold. There is the story again. It is from the Western world, but it is quite well known in India also. The story of King Midas. King Midas got this boon. He sought that whatever he would touch would become gold. He initially became so happy. Wow! Now everything that I want will become gold. And what happens? Everything becomes lifeless. It is gold. The fragrant, nice looking rose. He goes to get it. It lost all fragrance. It is gold. Everything is becoming gold. He just embraced his very loved, beloved daughter, turned into gold statue, lifeless. Everything becomes lifeless. Our search for money, actually it happens, friends. When we run after money, things become lifeless for us. It is, we only see the money of it. Everything gets calculated in terms of money. The whole mentality becomes like that. That is the thing to be had in life. Money, money, money. That is why Sri Ramakrishna said that all the sense enjoyments, they can be clubbed together as the sexual enjoyment. So he said kama. This is, and kanchana, the gold. Gold, lust and gold or greed. That is how we get caught and then lose the idea, the real selfishness is gone. We are not selfish anymore. We do things by which our interests are just trashed. Instead of getting more happiness, we become more and more miserable. So, is it becoming selfish? It is not becoming selfish at all in the true sense of the term. It is becoming more miserable. Because I am selfish, I want to make myself more miserable. Is it something, does it make sense? Impossible. I should try to make myself happiest. I should make myself most, peaceful and full of love. All that I cherish, I should get it. But what I do in the name of selfishness does not bring that to me. And therefore, all these, I have taken these two important categories. That one is criticizing others, and second is that running after. One is kind of negative, second is the positive. Positive, don't take it in a positive light. What it means is you go after something. That is the running after sense desires and money. So, in the name of selfishness, we do that. But it is not really bringing any good to us, any advantage to us. In fact, we become miserable creatures by doing that. Let us remember that story of the little child Nachiketa. The teacher is the god of death, and this young man, Nachiketa, has asked for what survives after death. I want to know that. And the god of death wanted to test this boy, whether is he really interested in that, or it is just for the sake of asking, he is asking something. So the testing was tempt this little boy with all other things in the world. Oh, Nachiketa, I will give you this whole earth filled with riches. I will give you as much life as you want to enjoy. I will give you all these heavenly damsels and other things to enjoy that others will never be able to get. I am going to give you all this. Just don't ask that question, that what survives death. Nachiketa said, what you are giving? I don't care for any of that, because they just what you call enjoyment is really pain. It just sucks away the life of the sense organs. That is why what we call enjoyment. Sri Ramakrishna used to give the analogy of a camel eating thorns, thorny bushes, because camels, they go in deserts. So in desert there is not much vegetation, only those thorny bushes are there. So it starts chewing at them. And then its mouth gets lacerated because of the thorns. There is no substance in those thorns, but it keeps on chewing at them. The camel's own blood is getting drunk, and it thinks, wow, I am getting lot of substance from these thorns. That is what our so-called enjoyments are. Therefore, Nachiketa says, Sarvendriyanam jarayanti tejaha. Very strong words, not easy to translate them in English. That all the power, all the sensitivity, all the capabilities of the organs are, as it were, sucked by these so-called enjoyments. They are pain, but in ignorance we call them enjoyments. So, running after them is certainly not a selfishness. It does not become conducive to my well-being. It does not make me advantageous. Why call it selfishness then? It imprisons me, it hurts me, it binds me. I become a very miserable creature by that. So, we have seen what is not selfishness, although it passes for selfishness. So, what is then this selfishness? We will see then what is selfishness. Simple, these things you have heard many times, and to understand these, everybody has enough intelligence to see that if by going after the objects, after criticizing people and so forth, if my selfishness is getting hurt by that, to become selfish, what should I do? Do exactly opposite, you see. Do exactly the opposite things. It is. So, what should we do to become selfish? Let us not criticize or blame others. Isn't it simple enough, Teresa? Yeah, it is very simple. That is why Holy Mother said, it is her last advice of this mortal life, that if you want peace, my child, don't find faults of others. For finding my fault, I don't pay anybody, so why somebody should take the trouble of finding my faults? That it is, and nobody has employed me to find their faults, you see. So, I shouldn't be spending my time and energy for this thankless job of criticizing others, finding my faults, and incurring all those things we discussed earlier. So, and let us not run after sense objects, sense enjoyments. Let us shun pursuit of money. The money, one argues that it is so necessary. Yes, it may appear very necessary, but as we have to use money, the capability of using money is only when we are masters of it, not slaves of it. When we run after money, The whole process gets reversed. We are slaves to money, and thus money uses us. We lose the capacity to use money, friends. And thus it is more and more and more. It is, oh, if I earn a little more, well, I will become the richest person in the world. It is, and then somebody else overtakes you. It is all such a thing. So, a rat race, which no rat also ever wins, for that matter. So, this is how the situation comes to. So, this is not in our self-interest at all. And so now let us turn not to do these things. And what is to be done? Let us come to that. It is, again, you have heard these things multiple times here. Control of senses. L is dropped here. I went to control too much, I think. So it is control of senses and mind. That is the important thing to do, because we see that if not controlled, they run after the objects. They already have acquired this habit, and they now are so much into it that unless we conscientiously put control over it, we will not be able to reverse their course, and therefore controlling them is very necessary. In Bhagavad Gita, therefore Arjuna is told, Tasmat tvam indriyani adau niyamya bharatarshava. Tasmat, therefore, O Arjuna, first you learn to control the sense organs. It is, I know in many modern psychology books, and such that, oh, no, don't teach control. It creates all these, what is the word, Teresa? That it creates the suppression and so forth. It is, and so don't suppress them, don't control them. Children should be allowed to do whatever they want, and all such ideas you hear. It is but this has thus, because it is easy, apparently it is easy, controlling is difficult. And so therefore a person tries to take an easy way out, path of least resistance. The question is where that path leads to. Is it a path at all? So, therefore sages told, the great teachers of the world told, that control the senses. It is, and what happens when we do that? To whatever extent we do that, we may not be able to establish the full control in a short time. Maybe it may require, depending on how intensely we practice. That is how Patanjali describes, the great sage Patanjali, who has given a tremendously useful psychology and science of it, mentions this, that it is depending on the constitution of the person and the intensity, that it is, and if somebody is doing it very powerfully without hurting the instrument, then that person will achieve it quickly. Like if you want to go, say, from here to San Francisco, if you take a flight, it will take, say, some 6-7 hours. If you take some, that very high speed, supersonic, then it may take maybe 2 hours. If these days they are talking about that hyperloop, so it will take only 1 hour from here to San Francisco. All such things are being there. They are there. If I want to walk, well, still I will reach. It will require a little longer time. So once you reach there, that's it, It doesn't matter how long it took. But we have to start controlling the senses at our capability. If I say, well, I will go only if after the hyperloop is ready, then only I will go. No, don't do that. Start. Whatever vehicle you have, start with that. So it is important to start control at whatever stage we are. So senses and mind both need to be controlled to be truly selfish. And what will happen? This will reduce the slavery to senses. And also mind, senses as well as mind. It will reduce. See, they are our instruments. And so we should have control over it. My pen does not tell me what I should write. What I want to write, my pen writes. So my senses and mind, they are my instruments. It is. So they should do what I want them to do. They should not dictate me. By trying to control the sense organs, gradually as we start feeling the control, we will be able to make good use of it. And thus that will bring a sense of serene happiness to us. We will become happier by that. Imagine, are you happier driving a car when you are controlling the car or when the car is controlling you? It is, things must be in your control. It is, when there is that black ice and all, then you cannot control it. The car goes here, there, everywhere. And that's not certainly a very happy situation, friends. So therefore, it is as our instrument of senses and mind gets under control, we become free from their bondage, and we become more and more happy as we do it. Actually, what happens is our inner happiness starts manifesting more and more because the disturbance that these senses create, that gets reduced and controlled. And then, this is the second point. Now the senses, which were just running after enjoyments, start performing their function of sensing. The sense organs have two functions. One is to sense and other is to run to grab. It is, I am using the word senses as senses and mind together, friends. So, one is to sense, to know, and other is to go and grab. When the tendency of going and grabbing takes predominance, its capacity to know gets, put on the back burner or is forgotten also. It is, so when that tendency is controlled, now you start using the senses for the proper function of knowing the truth. To whatever extent they may know, but what happens thereby? Make us feel the truth that joy is within. That misunderstanding, misconception that joy is in some object outside is gone. And we know that the joy is within. By controlling the senses, we feel this. And thus it helps us for the manifestation of our true blissful self. Then another very important way of doing it is service to others. Swami Vivekananda in Karma Yoga says that service to others is to be done for our own benefit. This is the title of, I think, the 6th chapter, that we help ourselves, not the world. We should help the world. He says we should always try to help the world. That should be the highest motive in us. But if we consider well, we find that the world does not require our help at all. We help ourselves by helping the world. It is thus what happens. Initially it is counterintuitive. I want to be selfish. If I help others, then that fellow will take a disadvantage of me. It is or advantage of me, and I will be just thrown in the somewhere in the back. I have to win this race, so I will throw others from my path out. But this is the very important technique, that when you help others, what happens is you help yourself. This is what happens actually. It is because there is the psychology of it. When you help others, you start seeing this truth that the self in the other is same as yourself. Your mind starts becoming purer, and thus your joy increases. Your awareness that the same self is everywhere increases. You lose the attachments with this world, which are a big problem with our happiness. Attachments always bring misery. And therefore, this service to the world will reduce our attachment, and thus we will also learn to work like a master. Let me quote this full passage, not full, but just a few more lines of this chapter in Karma Yoga, that because people think that the other needs my help, I must help that person. It is said here, is it not a blasphemy to say that the world needs our help? This statement hit me so hard when I first read it. It is to world, we feel that we should help the world and so forth. But if we believe in a creator God, a God who made this world, then we must, by saying that it needs my help, am I not saying that God did not do a good job? By being God, God should be doing the best job. And if it needs my help, what does it indicate? God didn't do the job properly. That is why I have to help. So, world does not require my help at all. I have not put this in quotation, but he says in the same lecture there, not even a single person in the world needs my help. I am not required for this world at all. It will go on in its own way without my help. World does not need me. Not a single person, not any beggar is indebted to me. No, nobody. In fact, I am when I try to serve that person, help that person. I should be indebted to that person because that person is there. I am able to exercise this service instinct that I am serving, and thus I get help by that. My muscle of service gets strengthened by that exercise. It is a moral exercise. Vivekananda says here thus that we cannot deny that there is much misery in it. To go out and help others is therefore the best thing we can do. Although in the long run we shall find that helping others is only helping ourselves. As a boy, I had some white mice. As a toy you get, it is not actually mice, but it is. It's a toy. And then, so they were kept in a little box in which there were little wheels. And when the mice tried to cross the wheels turned and turned and turned. And the mice never got anywhere. It is like there is in the basement I have a steady bicycle. It is for exercise purpose only. You cannot use that bicycle to go anywhere. Even if I keep on bicycling, I will not get anywhere. It will not move a single inch. But what it helps me to do? Strengthen my body, strengthen by my muscles. Exactly the same thing. The world remains as it is. Swamiji says here, so it is with the world and our helping it. The only help is that we get moral exercise. That is the only help. When we extend help to somebody, it is only the moral exercise that one gets. That is the help of it. So, this world is neither good nor evil. Each person manufactures a world for himself or herself. So, it is neither good nor bad. It can never be made better. That is how the history of the world is. For now millions of years, the world is here, and so many people have tried to make it better. Things have been attempted this way, that way, and many Buddhas and Jesus and all such great people tried to help it. And then still the unhappiness in the world, the misery in the world, the problems in the world, they are still there. Some external situations have changed. Earlier we had the problems while we had to stay under a tree or a cave. Now we have the same problems as staying in Empire State Building. So what difference did it make? That is how things are. So, serving the world only makes us a better person. So, therefore, you can see the very purpose is this, that it is let us come back to our early slide, that what a person should be doing to be selfish. Now we know the answer. That excessively or exclusively seeking or concentrating on one's own advantage. Now the meaning of these words is changing when we understand all the discussion that preceded. That yes, what is my advantage? That I will know the truth, that the bliss is in me. I am in everyone. So, and without regard for others, because actually I am all others. There is no other. It is to be, one comes to this conclusion, there is no other. It is the same one being that manifests as so many, just as there is the same I in my left hand and right hand. So also the same I in the whole universe. And that is how we become truly selfish. Otherwise, we are not selfish. We think we are, but we are not. So, this is the way we can become selfish. So, friends, thank you. And we will meditate on this idea for a few seconds. And then if there are some questions or comments, we shall look into these. Yes, any question?
There's one question from Fred Richardson. In other words, we need to learn how to work without attachment and offer all our actions to Mother. That's the question.
Oh, that is correct. That's a comment, yeah. Exactly. We have to learn to offer all our actions and work without attachment. Of course, in Karma Yoga, Swami Vivekananda says that this is a lifelong work to achieve that non-attachment. Saying is very easy, but we have to really practice that in a methodical way for maybe lifelong. Then we learn to be unattached. But we should try for that, yeah. And thus offering the results of the work and feeling that the Divine Mother is doing all these works, I am just an instrument, that feeling will make us more and more unattached. Yes, thank you, Fred. So, any question here? So let us now look at the upcoming programs, and we will conclude with the closing prayers. Then there will be Arati and so forth. So this is the month of January. Oh wow! January 17, the topic is getting the vaccine. So it is, don't think that there will be the COVID vaccine that will be given here. That is not the plan, but some other vaccine I am talking about. So we shall be discussing that, getting the vaccine. The Tuesday, Friday Vedanta classes at 7:30 p.m. will go on as usual. Tuesday's the topic is Sri Ramakrishna and his divine play, a biography of Sri Ramakrishna. And then on Fridays it is stories from Srimad Bhagavatam. The morning and evening prayers and meditations, they will go on as usual. And all these programs are open for in-person attendance with face mask and social distancing. So feel free about it. Let us conclude with the closing prayers. May the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahur Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.
Our worldly bondage and adored by all, we adore you too. Stainless Lord, assuming human form. Stainless Lord, assuming human form. Transcendent yet filled with love. You free us from the stain of sin and ornament our world. Consciousness is your form. Your eyes always purified by knowledge. Your eyes always purified by knowledge. Looking at them, delusion is gone. Ocean of shining love and feeling, ever inebriated in your infinite love. Your feet always dear to your devotees. Your feet always dear to your devotees. Form our boat to cross this world. Revealed to us as God incarnate and the Lord of all things, helping us join with you. Your mind's always set in the divine light. Your mind's always set in the divine light. This we can see through your grace. Destroyer of our worldly sorrow and compassion so infinite is a word. Your life's offered for the world's deliverance. Your life's offered for the world's deliverance, saving us from darkness and fear. a lust in lucre. Therefore you were always spurning sensual life. Lord of monks, you are the best of men. Lord of monks, you are the best of men. Grant to us pure love for you. You're fearless and you're free from doubting, with your mind very firmly resolved. Causeless refuge of your devotees, causeless refuge of your devotees, renouncing caste and birth. Our treasure is your holy feet, which take us very soon across this puddle of life. You give love and even sightedness. You give love and even sightedness to remove our anguish here. Our treasure is your holy feet, which take us very soon across this puddle of life. You give love and even sightedness. You give love and even sightedness to remove our anguish here. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Yet you are the basis of both. O Lord, yet you are the basis of both. Great light of all lights, blazing in the heart's cave. Great light of all lights, blazing in the heart's cave. Darkness is destroyed by your light. O Lord, darkness is destroyed by your light. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Greetings to you, O Lord, beyond both speech and mind. Yet you are the basis of both. O Lord, yet you are the basis of both. Great light of all lights, blazing in the heart's cave. Great light of all lights, blazing in the heart's cave. Darkness is destroyed by your light. O Lord, darkness is destroyed by your light. Langa Ranga Bhanga, these are all the sounds of Mridanga. Langa Ranga Bhanga, these are all the sounds of Mridanga. Spiritual songs devotees are singing for your worship divine. Spiritual songs devotees are singing for your worship divine. Jaya Jaya for your worship divine. Hara Hara for your worship divine. Shiva Shiva for your worship divine. breaker of all our worldly bondage, and adored by all. We adore you too. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji Ki Jai. Auspicious and blessed graciousness sublime, all noble ends you give to us, granting us refuge, all seeing Gari. O Mother Divine, our love to you. Creation, preservation, dissolution are your powers, eternal one. Nature's real basis, nature's essence. O Mother Divine, our love to you. We come seeking refuge from anguish. Be our Savior through your deep concern. All our suffering remove, Goddess. O Mother Divine, our love to you. Victory, O Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Blessed Mother Divine, our love to you. Jai Shri Ram Krishna Dev Ki Jai. Jai Shri Sarda Devi Ki Jai. Jai Shri Swami Vivekanand की जय। जय श्री बुद्धदेव की जय। जय श्री जीसस क्राइस्ट की जय।